Hey guys, Fat Man back already. I'm doing two videos tonight. I decided, what the hell? I'm gonna do some videos. Halloween's over, I'm like, I gotta wait till Christmas now. I'm bored. November, boring month. So I'm going to do a movie review on Mandy, the new Nicolas Cage film that came out, I believe, on the 30th on Blu-ray. You can pick that up now. It's $14.99 on Amazon right now. I actually watched it about 3 weeks ago. I streamed it on Vudu. I think it was like $6.99 to rent it because I was very excited about the film after I saw the trailer. It's been mixed reviews on this film. If you haven't seen this director, he's only got one other film. It's called Beyond the Black Rainbow. The director's name is Panos. I can't pronounce the last name. I can't remember off the top of my head. Um, he Not he, but his father was a famous director. His father directed, I believe, Rambo First Blood, Rambo Part 2, Tombstone, a couple other action, like two or three other bigger action films in the 80s. I think like Commando and a couple others. But Panos, his son, was the camera guy on this for the film Tombstone, and he learned a lot about film, I think, through that. But I recently watched an interview where he said that he was able to fund his first film, Beyond the Black Rainbow, off the royalties of Tombstone. And if you haven't seen Beyond the Black Rainbow, I would highly recommend checking that out. It's very, very good. It's slow. It's a slow burn. It's a very slow. The whole thing's basically a slow burn. Very cool lighting, almost like a slight Argento influence on the lighting. I'll get into more of that in a minute. The music, the way it's shot, cinematography, the lighting, everything. It's very, very cool. It's trippy. It's a trippy movie. In fact, I'm going to try and pick that movie up. I saw it years ago when it first came out. And I have not picked up Mandy, even though it came out 2 days ago. I was hoping maybe on Amazon prices fluctuate so much. Like it'll be $14.99 for the first month, and then it might drop down to $9.99. And I've already seen the movie, so I might just wait till it's a little cheaper to buy it on Blu-ray. But yeah, it's a great film. Beyond the Black Rainbow, it's a great film. I definitely check that one out. But then I just recently watched another interview with him. And I thought this was an interesting way to put it. He said, Beyond the Black Rainbow was like an inhale, and Mandy was the exhale. So and he also went on to explain it's like the Beyond the Black Rainbow was the introvert in him, and the extrovert was Mandy, obviously. And I also watched the interview where Nicolas Cage said that the only reason that he accepted the role of Mandy was that he loved Beyond the Black Rainbow so much. It was so different and so fresh. He absolutely loved it. Beyond the Black Rainbow is set in the 80s, as well as I think Mandy's definitely set in the 80s. It's more apparent, I think, in Beyond the Black Rainbow. It definitely feels very, very 80s. Everything looks 80s, like very early 80s, like 82, 83, 84, somewhere in there probably. Mandy's also set in the 80s, so obviously he has an obsession with 80s. Excuse me. And I believe too, you can definitely see it in both films, but definitely influenced by Dario Argento, Fulci, David Lynch, Suspiria. You can see some Suspiria lighting in both. The way I explained, I think on you or on Facebook, was how Mandy looks and feels and everything about it is if Argento and David Lynch had done drugs together in the 80s and decided to make a film, this would be the outcome. And it absolutely is. It feels half David Lynch and half Argento. It's fairly gory. At times it's pretty intense. I mean, there's some scenes that are pretty, ooh, This is not going to be for everybody. It's a drug fueled nightmare. And I think another a quote I saw too was, it feels like its own world. It doesn't play by anybody else's rules. It's its own creation. It's its own thing. It's a little art housey. At times it's very profound. It's very beautiful. At other times it's just grisly, bloody, and gory, and weird, and man, it's amazing. It is truly amazing. In my opinion, next to Hereditary, which is equally good. Well, I would actually put Mandy a little above it, just because I feel like Hereditary is made out to be a movie that was more like there was a deeper meaning to it. I guess I don't pick up on too much of that. For me, Hereditary is just straightforward. I mean, once I figured everything out, it was like, okay, this is a very straightforward horror movie, but done very, very well. I loved the ending to it. I thought it was very cool. I know it's supposed to be about Mandy, but I love the ending where it's just like it kind of just leaves you there. You don't know. And the other thing I loved about Hereditary was you didn't know why this cult was doing what they were doing, what their motivation was. I love it. Just doesn't give you any backstory on really too much on the grandma or the cult, or, well, I guess they're Satanists or Luciferians or pseudo Satanists. I don't know what the hell they were, but I did like Hereditary. I thought it was very well done. But Mandy, yeah, I think Mandy hands down best horror film of the year, and for me almost the best film of the year, just because it's very original. It's original. He didn't try and pull from other, like, oh, he's like, oh, I'm gonna remake, It's like, oh, it's Annabelle 2, and these shit films that they recycle the plots, and it's all predictable. And in no way is this film really, in my opinion, predictable. You can watch the trailer and kind of guess what it's about, but I mean, in a way, it is just a straightforward revenge film, but so much more. The visuals are just astounding, and the music and everything about it. I think this guy is the director to watch out for. I think he will definitely go on to make other films that I think Mandy is a film like 10, 15 years from now, the next generation of filmmakers, I think they'll definitely be talking about this film a lot. And I don't think it's getting quite what it deserves. I think people are bashing it pretty heavily, and I'm not sure exactly why. I stayed away from any kind of online YouTube spoiler reviews, because I just watched the trailer. I watched it like 5 or 6 times, and then I just watched the movie. And then I went back and I watched a few bigger YouTubers that review movies, and then I watched some smaller ones. I watched Johnny Tez, the Hyper Geek. If you guys don't know who he is, you should. He reviewed Mandy, and I assumed, because I've been following Johnny a long time, I figured he would have really enjoyed that film. I don't think he hated it, but I definitely understood where he was coming from in that the first half of the film is kind of slow, but the second half is like just an explosion in your face of weirdness and violence and all sorts of weirdness. But yeah, I could see where this film will not appeal to a lot of people. It's got an art house feel at times, and for some people it will just make them uncomfortable. I think this film is one of those films that will make you uncomfortable and make you want to turn it off at times. But I think it challenges it. It's creating its own mythos. It's not borrowing from anything. It's not trying to be like, Halloween 9. It's not trying to. He's trying to just, this is what I'm doing, and I think it's that kind of what they were doing a little bit in the late 90s and early 2000s, where a lot of independent filmmakers were just making films for the sake of making a film and not giving a fuck what anybody cared about. The critics, whether or not it made a shitload of money, just putting something out there. And I think that's what he's doing here, is he's just putting something out there that he wants to do. And this is something that he just created this crazy story in his head, and he just regurgitated, just spit it out on you, and it shows. Like, he doesn't give a fuck what you think about this film. This is, I think, very personal for him. And I think that shows. I think we need more like that. Even a little bit on Hereditary, although I think it's still a little more straightforward. Those are filmmakers making films that they want to make. Unlike doing something for a studio of like, well, now you're like what happened to Rob Zombie. He made a House of Thousand Corpses. He made Devil's Rejects, and then he was contracted to do Halloween 1 and 2, and that was an ugly. He did not like that deal. He did not want to do that, and it shows because I think most people do not like the remakes of Halloween, and I don't think they necessarily need to be remade anyway. Even though I do like parts of those movies, I think it, especially the beginning, the mythos of how Michael Myers came to be. I think Rob Zombie painted that, and I think his films are great. I think for me too, I've talked about this a lot of times. I think House of Thousand Corpses is one of those pinnacle films that came out in 2004 that I think changed horror movies. I think that definitely influenced people. So I think that's where what Mandy will eventually do. I think this will go on to influence other filmmakers. But if you haven't checked out Mandy, absolutely go check it out. It's an amazing film, dark and beautiful at the same time. So hopefully we'll see more from this guy. I believe, like I said, you can pick it up $14.99. I did see it. I did see it at Target for that price. Amazon has it. So look around and check that one out. But that's it, guys. Hope you like this review, and we'll see you later.